Hey everyone, it's Thursday, December 8th, 2016, and it's time to go to work on music. Getting a little later start today than I wanted to, but it happens, and I'm gonna put some systems in place to get into the groove a little bit earlier. I feel like this time management thing is really a constant thing right now, so I really want to try to nip it in the bud, and it I think in many ways requires a constant vigilance, and sometimes you slip, get back on track, slip back on track. But I would love to get a little more in the groove, honestly. That's really the main thing going on right now. Definitely dealing with a lot of other stuff, not gonna lie, but handling it well, and I think that's as good as it's really gonna get right now. So, want to capitalize on this time today. We're gonna hit the drums, gonna do some online classwork, and then we are going to kill this show. So here we go. Cool. So interesting part of this piece I've been going through the last couple days, talking about how to get better at writing, or if there's anything specific that you should do when reading while to improve your writing. And I think about reading the way I think about listening when it's writing music. And it's pretty simple advice, just talking about listening closely, which hopefully, ideally, you would already do if you're really into that artist or that person, and his or her material. The other thing is copying things down, and I would think about like transcription, learning some of the phrases and some of the licks and some of the songs of artists who you really like. And that's something that I really, really want to get into doing more this coming year, is doing cover songs and building my repertoire. Just learning a wide variety of music. Joe Satriani talks about that a lot, and talks about how doing exercises is important and valuable, but that really shouldn't be the bulk of your practice. And right now I'm working on a lot of original stuff, so I think that's really good practice, taking what's in my head and trying to get it out. Maybe that's the best practice, but at the same time, there's so much growth that can come from learning other people's stuff, so excited to jump into that. Um, yeah, and then some other details about that. Gonna jump into some business stuff. All right, more great stuff from Michael Beinhorn on his blog, How to Save Popular Music. And you should really check it out if you haven't. It's an awesome resource, and thank you, Michael Beinhorn. I don't know if you'll ever see this video, but if you do, thanks for putting in the time to really articulate that stuff. And there's a couple comments on the post I was just reading that that are about how like the current generation, current popular music has a much shorter half-life than even bubblegum pop of the early years, and possibly that has to do with the ease of producing music and the efficiency of producing music via technology now, and also possibly with just our culture and the way we consume information now. And there's so many distractions and so much competition for our attention and money, of course. But Beinhorn makes a really good comment, which is that it's it's not so much about teaching young people or the next generation to revere the music that we revered. It's more about teaching them to revere the significance of the music that we revered, and to really study and understand the emotional qualities and the depth of real art versus just superficial art. And now that I'm thinking about it, I don't really mind that people consume superficial art. It doesn't bother me. Um, but I also do see the problems that he's pointing out, which is it can cause people to dissociate from music and from real art, and that can create problems because we're starting to live in a really fragmented society where there's a lot of focus on just disconnection, ironically. But yeah, I'm gonna keep thinking about that. I think how it resonates most with me is that is the type of music that I think we really do want to create as artists. We really do want to write that song that's so emotionally engaging and gripping that just cuts through all the intellectual clutter and cuts through all the internet clutter and just really hits home. The more I think about it and the more time I spend writing music and making music, the more I realize there may be many subjective aspects to that. It can be very difficult to objectively describe what's good and what's bad, or what's high quality and what's low quality. And it's okay to have an opinion on that, and I just really like Michael Beinhorn's opinion on it. Whether I agree with it or not, it's refreshing to read, and it's really good material to really think about and try to digest. So that's me talking about it right now. But yeah, I guess I don't want to say too much about this, but I think, that significance and emotional content and depth and subtext and real dimension is something that I really am striving to create really hard in my music right now. And I think it probably lacks some of the superficial elements that would be great for it to have, but I'm working on those too. And I think that's as good as it gets. I'm going to wake up tomorrow better at all those things than I was when I woke up today. And I think all I can do is push that as hard as I possibly can day in and day out, and do my best to take that where I want to take it. So that's what I'm doing. With that in mind, let's get into some drum work. Alright, good drum session, good quick little break. Let's get to work on the set. Alright guys, end of the session here, and not gonna lie, kinda screwed that session up. I mean, it wasn't a total loss. I got some good work done and I was working the whole time, but I think I just didn't really prioritize the right way. I wanted to do some review on the songs I was working on yesterday, and I could just tell, like, that probably wasn't the right use of the time, and then that ended up soaking up way more time than I thought it would. So good lesson right there. Mistakes are only bad if you don't learn from them. But definitely going to get a good takeaway there. Just trust myself as far as prioritizing, and I've actually been doing a really good job of that recently, and that's why I think I didn't question it today. So I guess that's a good and bad thing about being on track. But yeah, I did sneak the third song in there. It's sounding pretty good, and the first couple songs, they need a little more work, but they probably also could use a little more gestation time because I put so much time into them yesterday polishing. So the last song I didn't get to today, which is definitely not good. What I should have done is worked on the third and fourth songs today, and then saved the entire set for tomorrow and Saturday. But live and you learn. I think my goal now is tomorrow to knock out the fourth song. Just try to do a little bit of work on that if I can, and then Saturday start putting everything together. So yeah, sometimes you take the loss, and sometimes setbacks are just part of success, and it doesn't feel good, and obviously want to avoid them as much as possible. But in a sense, there's no such thing as wasted time, because you do always learn something as long as you act on it, as long as you change your patterns of behavior. I mean, if you just keep doing the same stupid stuff over and over again, then yeah, that's a total waste. But if you learn from it, then it can be valuable. So hope you guys are out there grinding towards your goals, and just wishing you guys the best. And hopefully your guys' day went better than mine today. But it happens, and it wasn't bad. I mean, I shouldn't say it was a bad day. I mean, it's still a win in the sense that I won't make that mistake again. But at the same time, it kind of stings a little bit because the time is so precious. Ugh. Anyway, see you guys tomorrow.